Hello, hello. We're back with another episode. Today is it's a new month. It's the second Monday of the month, but it's a new month. So happy April to everyone. And thank you for joining us. Where the queens talk about it and be about it. Um, so I'm Jackie, the wellness advocate.
I'm Nisha, the social justice advocate.
And Ms. Roberta was not able to be with us today, or she may hop in. But yeah, so let's hop into it. Today was the solar eclipse. We thought, why not talk about a little bit about it and kind of see what your all's perspective was on it, or and yeah, and see how y'all felt about it. As far as, did you feel any different? The eclipse, a lot of the talk prior to it was the second coming of Jesus, or the apocalypse, all these different things. And of course, conspiracy, what do they call it? Conspiracy, I can't even talk today.
Conspiracy.
Yes, all
Conspiracy
conspiracy
theory.
theories. All of those, of course, happen anytime anything like this is going to occur. But of course, nothing happened, but people were really eating it up. Like every time I was scrolling through videos on Instagram, that's all I kept coming across.
Mm-hmm.
It's just crazy. But I know there some people really do connect it to a spiritual level. They say that it symbolizes a time of darkness and spiritual renewal. So it offers an opportunity for introspection and the shedding of old energies. So getting all, starting over kind of thing. And I did see a lot of people were having like some spiritual yoga sessions to kind of prepare for it, I guess, to be more open while it was taking place. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and a lot of people did travel to Texas and Arkansas. I think I saw that the hotels were like booked at almost 100%, pretty much 100%, which is insane to me.
Yeah, Dallas, it was certain cities that were only able to see it 100%, and Dallas was one of them. So I know the traffic today was crazy. I didn't go to Dallas. I went to Dallas early this morning for work, but it was early, so traffic wasn't too bad. But I just know around the time of the eclipse, traffic was probably crazy.
Yeah, they kept telling people, to just be careful, if you're going to be out there. And I think they were pushing it a lot because knowing how we are sometimes, if something's going on, like when you see an accident, you try to, slow down and watch it. So people
Mm-hmm.
were going to try to look at it while they were driving. So
Or
they're,
pull over on the side of the road.
yes, yes. So yeah, yeah, it was a lot of, things going on.
Yeah,
Um,
school. My
did the
sister
kids
actually went to the school, her son's school, and a lot of the kids at different schools too. They took the kids outside to watch it. I thought that was really nice.
Yeah, they did that for my kids' school as well. Some schools closed, decided to give
Oh,
the kids a day off because I guess there was a lot of different events taking place. I know, like in the
mhm.
district area in Dallas, I think probably in Deep Ellum too, but a lot of different places were having different events today. My kids didn't go to school today. That was because I did not hear my alarm this morning at all. But yeah, and I would have taken them outside to watch it, but we didn't have any glasses to be able
Yeah,
to go out there and watch it. But I wanted to, but yeah, no glasses. We didn't go outside. But I did
it got
I
really
did
dark.
see. Hmm?
It got really dark.
It did. I kind of like, to be honest, I kind of like just forgot about it, being with the kids and getting food ready. I turn around, I have a window right there in my kitchen. I'm like, oh, it's dark. I'm like, the eclipse. I'm like, it's happening. By the time I went out, the moon had already passed. I was like, oh no, we can't watch it.
Yeah,
but but yeah, it did get really dark. And it's kind of crazy, to see that when there is supposed to be sun out. And my, you know what, my dogs, they did kind of act up while it was happening. They kept like scratching at the door, and I was like, "What's wrong with y'all?"
Mm.
Let's see. A woman allegedly blamed the solar eclipse for her shooting spree in Los Angeles. Really?
Hear about that?
Oh wow. What is with these shooting sprees? I tell you.
Where in Los Angeles? And did anybody die? I hope not.
Not right. That is crazy. I don't know about that because I hadn't came across that shootings. Wow, that's crazy. But
I know
we
people like you were saying it was the second coming, and that's
mm-hmm.
probably what people saw when Jesus died. And I know in the Bible somewhere it says something about the sun was darkened, and I could be too literal. After I thought about it, I was like, "Oh, that makes sense." But after I thought about it, I was like, "You know what? The sun was not darkened. The moon was."
Mm-hmm.
But you never know. In Bible days, they might not have realized it was an eclipse. I don't know. They could have just thought the sun was darkened. I don't know. I didn't think it was the second coming of Jesus because the Bible also tells you you'll never know the day or the hour when he's going to return. So if we're sitting here like, oh, this is the solar eclipse, Jesus coming back, even if he planned to come back, he wasn't going to do it because he was expecting it. So,
This is true. This
yeah,
is true. No one knows but him.
not even the
But
angel.
yeah, yeah. But I wish people wouldn't kind of try, because some people are more sensitive than other people. They'll really take it to heart and they'll start panicking and things like that. Like, I'm
Mm.
surprised I didn't see people trying to go to the grocery store and empty the shelves as they
That's
usually
true.
do.
That's usually how people, right? That's usually how people act.
Yes, yes.
People make
First
something
thing.
out of nothing sometimes.
Yes, and I think that's intentional. But one thing I did not see, and I think that's good. I didn't see the media like news highlighting any of that. They were just focusing on the plan that it was just gonna happen, and that
Mm.
was it. So that probably had a lot to do with it. If the media would have highlighted it, then yeah, I think there would have been a craze.
Like with COVID.
Like with Cole, exactly what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what came to mind. No, but yeah, but but yeah. So I wish I would have been able to be outside to see it, but it's okay. It'll happen again. I know people were saying that wasn't gonna happen again in what 100. I don't know. I had seen 100 and something years. Other people are like, no, 10 years or something like that. But the last time an eclipse happened was in 2017.
But
But
they're different types of eclipses though,
mm,
too. Like I think this one was a solar eclipse. I don't know the last kind. Oh, 20 years full coverage,
so
yeah.
it's a full coverage. Okay.
Isn't that full coverage is solar? What's
Mm.
the lunar eclipse?
Oh yeah, the lunar eclipse.
Let me see what that
That's
one.
right.
There's different kinds.
Mm-hmm.
I know we've had a few since I've been alive. I just don't know. Lunar eclipse when the full occur at the full moon phase when Earth is positioned precisely between the moon and sun. Earth's shadow falls onto the surface of the moon, dimming it and sometimes turning the lunar surface a striking red over the course of a few hours. Oh, okay. So that's when the moon turns red.
Oh, okay.
Lunar
So that
eclipse.
one.
Yeah, we had one of those some years ago. They called it blood moon or something. They called it.
Yes, the blood moon. I think that maybe that's the one that they said about in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but but I can at least I think if anything, I'm glad that there was no craze. There was a lot of social media craze, but
Yeah.
nothing aside from that. And I'm glad everyone was safe because I think if you look back at any big event that's going to take place, shootings will happen or crazy stuff like that will happen. People who are not, mentally stable, or what have you, they'll take that as an opportunity because there's big crowds.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm glad I didn't hear nothing about that here, but apparently it happened in Los Angeles. I hadn't heard about it yet, but
Yeah, I hadn't either. Surprisingly.
that's I know that's crazy.
But I mean,
But
I don't deny that the moon and the stars and the eclipse and all that has an effect on us. We're all part of the same system. We're part
mhm,
of nature. So it would
yeah,
be naive to think that the things that happen on around us in the sun, the moon, space, the stars, the grass, everything around us has no effect on us, which is why a lot of people were saying they were tired. I slept through most of the eclipse. I don't know if I
mhm,
was tired because it was the eclipse or if I was just tired. I'm a sleeper. So, I mean, I just felt
Same.
like by that time I worked
Yeah.
early this morning and I was like, I'm going to go home and take a nap. And then when I woke up, I was like, oh, I slept kind of long, but I was like, oh, it's dark outside. That's the eclipse. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people were saying they were really tired.
And maybe it has to do with the fact that your body, whenever it does see light, daylight to darkness, it automatically assumes, oh, it's nighttime. It's time to,
Mhm.
go to sleep.
Yeah.
So that more than likely is probably why people were like, oh, I feel so tired now. I did see also people talk about the spiritual level, like, oh, I feel different. Like that was such a great experience. And I would not deny it either because, I mean, if when you are not feeling okay, if you're depressed or your mood is off, if going outside is what helps and getting that sun and being in the nature. So it is all interconnected.
Hmm.
So would
I mean,
not
I
be
don't feel no
surprised.
different spiritually, but I'm glad
Mm.
somebody do. That's
Yeah, I'm happy that you do. I
that's
didn't get that
cool.
experience, but that's nice to be able to hear from people that they got that experience.
Hmm.
It really is. Um, and but yeah, but aside from that, we also wanted to highlight that this month is Autism Awareness Month. Um, and we just want to. I know a lot of people don't like the awareness. I actually prefer acceptance because people are, I mean, now you should be completely aware that autism exists and that people are autistic. And so it's now more than, now more of a accept it,
Yeah.
and be inclusive and ensure that, you're being equal amongst everybody, just like what we have with mental health and autism falls under that as well. um I think that's one thing that is consistently fought for individuals with autism, because people try to say that, oh, well, I can't tell, that so and so is autistic. Well,
You're not.
I don't think you're really supposed to be able to tell because there's a spectrum, and then you can't even assume, especially if you don't know what autism is, to just point someone,
I
oh,
mean,
that
even if
person is
you do,
autistic.
I still don't think it's fair to assume you ain't no doctor to be diagnosing nobody.
Exactly.
I don't.
Exactly. And I
Do
think
you feel like that with the word awareness? Do it just autism? Is that like an autism thing? I've never heard of that before.
um yeah, recently I kept hearing, like, before, when I at first, like, when I would talk about it, I would see a lot of people, a lot of videos, of course, because the algorithm starts showing you different videos, that they're like, no, it's not awareness, it's acceptance. And then that made a lot of sense to me, because people do know, they hear about autism, or they may know someone personally, so it's more of an acceptance thing, because people don't want to accept it. They don't want to believe it. Like when I told my in-laws, they're like, "No, that's not real. Nothing's wrong. He's just bad. He just doesn't listen. He needs to listen and follow instructions just like anybody else." And it's like, no, like this is something different in his brain. He functions different. He hears and feels everything on a whole nother level. And it's noticeable. So I think that's one thing that, and even as a parent, you have to kind of learn to. It takes a while to accept it as well.
Interesting.
Um,
You
with
taught me
me, hmm yeah, with me, I already kind of knew, because being with Head Start at that time when my son was 3 years old, going on three, I figured, like, with seeing the other students there and being around them and reading, like, all their paperwork and everything, and seeing two and two put together, I was like, you know what? I think this may be my son as well. But I didn't try to just completely label him. I was like, we're gonna wait. Maybe it's just because he's two. Maybe he's just acting like a normal 2-year old. I don't know. He's my first baby. I've never had a 2-year old before, so we'll see how this goes. But after, um, what's it called? Like, symptoms piling up, tiptoes,
Mhm.
lining stuff up, stacking stuff, being sensitive to noise. I was like, okay, I'm like, it's already too many things, and he's by the time he got to 3 and 3.5, and he still wasn't talking. I was like, okay, all this combined is something more going on here.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a viewer that says enhanced self-esteem is acceptance empowers people with autism to embrace their uniqueness, which boosts their self-esteem and helps reduce the stigma associated with the condition. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
And I'm a stickler for people first language,
Mm.
and I've always been like that. I don't like when people say he's autistic or the person is this or he's that. It's because it gives like a connotation to it. Like it almost sounds like you're defining the person because you think about the condition first in that language and then you apply it to the person and then they're defined by that word. Versus
Mm-hmm.
you say he has autism, like, oh, okay, this
Mm-hmm.
is a person who is experiencing something. So
Okay.
I mean I don't go around correcting people, but
Yeah.
I definitely cringe when I hear people say, "Oh, I have a autistic cousin," or "He's autistic," or "She's autistic," and I'm just like, please say my cousin has autism. Like people first language is so important.
Yeah.
And it goes to what you're saying, like even how the smallest things can completely change the way we look and feel about different things. So instead of saying awareness and acceptance, that completely changed the connotation to it, that completely changed the thought process and the view on it. Like, oh, okay, acceptance, like, okay, this is something that we all need to work towards ingraining in the community. Like it's normal to have autism, like people have autism,
Yeah.
it's not that big of a deal, you know what I'm saying? Like it can't get rid of it, you know what I mean? Like as much as
Yeah.
we might want our kids not to have autism or whatever the case may be, people have autism and people have different things going on, and it's just something that we have to accept. It's really not an option in my opinion.
Definitely.
Autism acceptance goes beyond awareness by emphasizing understanding, inclusion, and celebrating neurodiversity. Awareness, while important, focuses more on acknowledging the condition's existence. Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Exactly.
That
I
it
think,
exists, but it's not, you know, who they are. They're still their individual person.
mm,
Just like with someone like me that has a major depressive disorder and anxiety. My they don't define me. It is a part of me, but it's not all who I am. So don't
mm,
hold that against me. And I think I've kind of experienced some of that before. They're like, oh, like the constant questions. Oh, how are you doing? And are you okay? And how's it going now? And it's like, like don't constantly do the checking, because then you're making me think and like really try to think, well, am I okay when I'm probably fine? But you
yeah,
keep,
having to revisit and revisit different.
yes,
Hmm.
keep having to
I like how
revisit.
this is something that's specifically with autism because
Hmm.
there are a lot of conditions or different things about people that we have accepted, like depression. Depression has
Hmm.
become very widely accepted over the past few years,
Yes.
maybe 5 to 10ish years, to where people openly talk about their depression. Majority of people experience it. People joke about it. That's just a part of society at this point. Versus autism, um, and other, more majorly affected. I don't even want to say that. Other disabilities per se, are not.
Yeah, this is very true. And one thing that I wanted to kind of touch on as well is, I keep I've never heard before neurodiversity. I feel like that's some relatively new that I've been hearing. I don't know, maybe it's been said before, it's been a term used um longer than recently. I don't know, but I hadn't really heard it a lot until recently. Like, in the past few months, hearing people, oh, I'm neurodivergent. And yes, if you have any, type of, mental health, diagnosis, or you have autism, or whatever it may be, you're neurodivergent. And I was like, oh, I'm like, I'd never heard, that term. I don't even think I've ever heard my therapist ever say neurodivergent.
I really like that word. I like how they attach diversity to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did like it. I was like, oh, I like that. I was like, I'm about to say I'm neurodivergent. I'm like,
Uh,
so if you ever see me acting some type of way or what have you, that you just know I'm different. I think differently.
we have a viewer that asks, are there any camps or anything that we suggest parents take their kids to who have autism?
So in DeSoto, is it? I believe it is in DeSoto. There's this camp. It's called Excel. I think it's
Mm,
EXEL or EXCEL. I can't remember right now, but it's called Excel. It happens every year, and that's specifically tailored to really any individuals with disabilities. And I've heard a lot of good things. I hadn't had the opportunity to sign my son up yet because each time that I've wanted to, he's had to go to summer school. So
mm,
I wasn't able to sign him up because I think it's for like a month. It's not like the whole summer, but it's like a month long program. So you do have that, and then I do know that there is a resource fair for anyone who lives in the Dallas area. There is a resource fair coming up. um I'll share that in our stories in Facebook and Instagram. um and I would also recommend, if you're not already signed up with the Partners Resource Network newsletters, they'll send you what's nearest because they go by regions. So the area that I'm in region 11. But depending on where you are at in DFW, you may be in 10 or 11. But they'll give you different either resources, fairs that are going on in the area, or also they'll give you maybe workshops like
mm,
seminars, summits that are taking place nearby, and most of them are either in like Waxahachie, which is not too far. It's like 30-45 minute drive, like for me who I live in Duncanville. But it's usually, I think, anywhere, even from Fort Worth, it'll probably be a little further away. But or Kessler, I've seen. So if you do sign up with the Partners Resource Network newsletter, or even go to their website, you can see even online classes that they have going on. But they're really good about posting and updating everything that's going on near you.
mm. Good info.
Yes.
That's
So
wonderful.
yeah, yes. So definitely recommend to sign up. Check their check them out again. They're called the Partners Resource Network.
Have a website,
Yeah, they do. That's what I'm trying.
partnersnetwork.com.
Let me see. I'm gonna look it up and make sure that I give the correct website. Partners. Here it is. So it's prntexas.org.
Mm,
Yes, so definitely check them out. And on my social media, I made a video kind of walking through how to find out what region you're in. Um, so if you go and see that, and I'll share it in our stories as well. That way you can go back to it. You can look at that as well. But they are a really good resource that most people don't know about. And what the crazy thing is that it is connected to like the TEA. It's like a program that they fund.
mm,
So it's like, but for whatever reason, like either the schools don't know, personnel does not know, or I don't know, because I found it on my own.
mm. You said TEA. What is that?
The Texas Education Agency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So everything that controls everything that goes in with the within our education systems. So yeah. So if anything, PRN Texas is going to be a good resource for you. Um, Also, the coordinator for the region goes monthly. I think it's monthly or every other week, and I can't remember. But there's this mental health clinic called Community Does It in Pleasant Grove inside of
Mm,
the Buckner Bazaar. And so you actually can talk to someone who is a part of that organization. And she even can go over paperwork with you if you have any questions. Yeah, with your paperwork, and kind of guide you and help you, you know, ensure that you ask the correct questions or ask questions that you may have not thought of before, and I'll walk you through that process. And I think maybe perhaps could even go with you as an advocate if need be.
Nice. That's
Yes.
wonderful. Okay, resource queen.
Yeah, they're
Period.
really good. And more and more, I keep seeing more now, and I'm happy about that. More agencies offering resources, but I think my only thing is ever like it being in the communities that mostly need it. Most of the time, they're like, if you think, take Dallas for example, they're like in North Dallas, in those, what we consider like the high class areas.
Mm-hmm.
So it's unfortunate for anyone who may not have transportation, or can't easily access those resources. But
Awesome.
they're growing, doing more and more. But I'll be sure to share those in our stories as well.
Follow us on Facebook and IG. Taboo Chronicles. DM
Yes.
us, tag us in your stories, your posts. Let us know we'll even take an email, whatever. Please join, follow us, engage. We want to hear from you guys. Um,
Yes.
every other Monday at 8 o'clock.
Yes. And we'll see y'all in 2 weeks. Bye.